Hi guys. Hi. Hi guys. Welcome back to my channel. So today I am filming. I'm filming like a get ready with me, but I am gonna talk about something, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna get ready, but while I'm getting ready, I'm going to talk about long distance relationships. And yeah, happy Valentine's Day, by the way. It's Valentine's Day, so it's kind of a coincidence that it's Valentine's Day and I want to talk about long distance relationship. I didn't plan that out. It just so happened that I'm filming on Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's to those who celebrate Valentine's, and for those who have other opinions about Valentine's Day, happy Valentine's Day to you too. So welcome back. Now for me, what long distance is, for instance, if you're in the same city but you guys are just living at two ends of the city, that to me is not long distance. That is not long distance to me. So for instance, if I'm living on the island, if I'm living on the island, for instance, we're in Lagos, right, and I'm living on the island like Lekki, and then the person you're dating is living in like Surulere or like Mushin, that to me is not long distance. Now if the person is living in Ibadan, then I think that's long distance. I do not think, like, if you're living in the same city, to me that's not long distance. You can afford to see yourself almost every day if you guys wanted to. So to make it easier, for instance, if you're in Toronto and you're living in Scarborough, for instance, and your significant other is living in downtown or even Mississauga or even Etobicoke, like, you guys can afford to see yourself every other day if you want to. You get what I mean? Like, you can. It might be a lot of sacrifice, but you can still see yourself every day if you want to. So to me, that's not long distance. However, can I do my eyebrows and I'll be back? Because I don't think I can do my eyebrows and talk. Now, I just want to be clear. Let me Google like the definition of long distance, because I know that my definition can be kind of weird, because like I have a very weird way of thinking about things, and I have discovered this by meeting so many people. It's like meeting so many people. I have discovered that the way I think about some stuff is pretty different from the way like most people think of things. Okay, so according to Google, a romantic relationship between two people who live far apart and so are unable to meet on a frequent basis. So according to Google, the definition of a long distance is you live far apart and you're not able to see on a frequent basis. Now, the word frequent is the problem. Now, some people think that frequent is one day. So if I don't see you in a day, or if I'm not able to see you every day, we're in a long distance. If I'm not able to see you twice a week, we're in a long distance relationship. That's what some people think of it that way. To me, that's not it. If you can afford to see somebody at least once a week, you are not in a long distance relationship, in my opinion. You're not, because at the end of the day, you are able to see each other. If you choose not to, then that's your case. Do you understand what I'm saying? But not able to, like, I don't know if you guys understand what I'm saying. Like, to me, because some people are like, oh, I can't see my boyfriend every day, but we live in the same city. Now, because of circumstances, you cannot see him every day. Doesn't mean that you're in a long distance relationship, you know? So the word frequent basis is what makes it different for different people. Now, if I can find my concealer, it would be really great. When I started dating my husband, we started dating in 2008, but we knew ourselves before then. See, we saw only when I had to go home, or when we were on holidays, or like midterm break and stuff like that. Now, in cases like that, I can understand that there's a restriction in seeing each other. Does it make, like, there's a restriction? Like, I can't leave boarding school and go out and see my boyfriend at the time. So like, that's not a thing. Then the first misconception about long distance relationship is loyalty, and that was the first thing everyone on Instagram, on Twitter, that was what everyone said. Loyalty. Now, there is one thing about loyalty that gets me as a person. When people talk about loyalty, people always think that you have to be ride or die for you to be loyal to somebody, which I don't think that I don't have any issues with that. Yeah, you should be ride or die for your friends and whoever you're with. However, people always think that when you're in a long distance relationship and you're with somebody, you shouldn't be hanging out with other people. Do you get what I mean? Like, you shouldn't be, talking or going out or like doing or like meeting other people. Now, I'm not saying that because you're in a long distance relationship, you should have a relationship where you are. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, because you're loyal to this person doesn't mean that you would not meet other people. Now, if you choose to start dating those other people, that is your choice. For me, I met other people. Did Dan meet other people? Yes, of course, he met other people. Did we date those other people? No. Did we talk about those other people? Yes, we did. Of course we did. That's the difference. The difference is, when you're in a long distance relationship, you will meet other people, of course, because you're not in the same place. You guys are not in the same location. Probably, in my case, we have not lived in the same country since 2010. Since 2010, me and Dan have been in a long distance relationship across countries. So that's 9 years ago. We were in 2 different countries. Now, of course, you will meet other people. You will meet other people. Your significant other is not the only beautiful person in the world. Your significant other is not the only handsome guy in the world. You will meet other handsome people. You will meet other sweet people. You will meet other people who are, especially when you're in a long distance relationship, you will meet other people who are ready to listen to you, because your significant other is probably not available when you want that attention. Loyalty, to me, doesn't mean that you should not see other people, not meet other people, and just be by yourself. No, that part I don't agree with. You guys, I don't think I can talk and do my makeup, but I'm gonna try, because that's what you do when you're in a long distance relationship. You try. You put in your all, even when it looks like it's not working. And that's another thing that gets me to my next point. My next point is knowing when to walk away. Now, in a long distance relationship, like 60% of the time, y'all gonna be arguing. If you guys tell me that anyone who has been in a long distance relationship can tell you that, because half of the time you want to talk and the other person doesn't want to talk. Half of the time you're available to talk, but the other person is not available to talk. Now, he is available to talk, but I ain't available to talk. Because I remember when I was in India, India was 10 hours ahead of Daniel. So when Daniel was waking up, I was going to bed. When I was waking up, he was going to bed. So imagine that. Like, I was 10 hours ahead of him. So it's like, when I'm ready, when I'm getting up in the morning, trying to go to school and get ready, he's getting ready to go to bed. And if you know my husband personally, when he's going to bed, he's actually going to bed, like he's falling asleep. So whatever you're saying is falling on deaf ears. Like, he ain't hearing nothing. He's not listening, he's not hearing, none of that. Like, I'm not a relationship expert. Like, I've been in only one relationship my entire life, but I can tell you that, like, we have been through it. Like, me and Dan, we've been through it. So this is just me giving my 2 cents, especially when it comes to long distance, because we've done it so long that it just became part of us. Like, we didn't know what else to do other than be in long distance. The communication part of long distance is what gets people. I feel like that's how people break up easily with long distance, and that's why people do not want to get into long distance, because of communication. Now, I get that part, but the thing is, you need to know the person you're with before you go into the relationship at all. Me and Dan, we dated for like a year or two before we went into different countries and stuff. Now, but like, I knew him, and we were dating for at least a while before we went into, like, before we traveled and stuff. You need to know somebody before you go into long distance. I feel like that, because that would help you judge some situations. Now, in some situations, you, for myself, in some situations when your significant other would do some things and you'll be like, why would you do that? Like, why would you do that? Now, you knowing the person would help you judge that case. Okay, he didn't do that to spite you. He did that because he was angry, or he did that because he had a bad day. He did that because, you know what I mean? You already know the person. You know that, oh, this person is like this when the person is hungry. If you know that, if you know the person and you know that before you get into a relationship, it would help you when the person isn't communicating right. Now, as a woman, you can probably be right when you do that. When your significant other picks up the phone and the person is like, what's up and how you doing? Now, if you know the person personally, when the person picks up the phone and starts talking, from the first 1 minute of your conversation, you can tell if something is wrong or nothing is wrong. You will be able to tell if you know the person personally. Now, if you don't, you will just go on with the conversation normally, because you guys haven't had like a physical, personal relationship. So it is possible for you to meet somebody over the phone, like, or on the internet or whatever, and date the person long distance, and it works. I'm not saying it would not work, but I'm saying it's just easier when you know the person personally. Like, you've met the person, you know the person. There's one thing about communication that people tend to misunderstand. Now, people always think that when you call somebody every day, you check up on them every day, you ask them how they're doing every single day, then that means you're communicating with them. Yes, but no at the same time. Like, you can ask me how I'm doing every single day. Have you eaten? Are you okay? Every single day, and I'll tell you I'm fine, I'm good every single day. But doesn't mean we're communicating, because at the end of the day, I might not be fine, you know. at some point it becomes a routine, and that happened with me and Dan. Because I call you every day and I check up on you every day, we're good, we're fine, we're doing great, we're killing this. Most men think that, cause I ain't doing fine. Like, I'm broke, I don't have money. Like, you know, there's some things that you cannot tell somebody unless they ask you. And that's another thing about communication. It's one thing for somebody to ask you about how you're doing and how you're faring, and it's one thing for you to just go out and tell the person. And that's the thing about women. Women want to be asked. We want men to ask us how we're doing. Like, you should notice that I'm not doing great, which sometimes doesn't actually work because men are blind. They are blind physically, emotionally, like deaf. Like they don't see some things. So sometimes we have to come forward and be like, y'all, I ain't doing good, okay? We need to work some shit out. And I learned that the hard way. Because when me and Dan started, I'm not the person to tell you what's going on with me. Like, everything is always fine, everything is always good. And if something ever happened in the relationship, I would always blame myself. I'll be like, yeah, because I didn't say this, it's my fault. And I would tell him sorry immediately, even if it was wrong. If he was wrong, I'll be like, oh no, it's fine. Like, I will take the blame. I'll be like, oh, I'm sorry. I say sorry so easily, like, it doesn't even have a meaning anymore. Like, he would tell me, baby, you say sorry so much that I don't even know, like, if you're actually sorry. Because I just say sorry, like I just don't want to fight. So can we just move on now? Like, I don't want to fight with you or anything like that. It's okay not to talk every day. Now, regularly, some people don't like talking to each other every day. Like, I've seen people in long distance relationship and they don't talk to their significant other every day. Now, if you were in a long distance relationship with me, you would have to talk to me every single day. And Dan had to learn that the hard way. Like, he's okay with being in a long distance relationship and not talking to the person every day. He's okay. But I'm not okay with that. So we had to find some middle ground. We don't have to call each other every day, but we would text each other every day, you know? Not every day call, some day text, some day FaceTime. Regularly could be defined anyway. Regularly could be every other day. That's 4 times a week or 5 times a week, and leave me alone on my Saturdays, you know? That could mean it. But however, you guys need to understand that, like, the problem with long distance is you just assume that the other person is okay with whatever shenanigans you're doing. No. Because most girls would want to talk to their significant other every day, from what I know. Now, there are some girls who would not want to know, because not everyone is the same. However, you guys have to have an agreement. And that it still brings me back to the thing of knowing the person. Now, me and Dan, we just went on long distance. We never had an agreement. I was like, what, 17 years old, and he was like, what, 19, 20? Like, he didn't, like, we didn't think of, like, okay, this is what we're gonna do when we're in the long distance. This is what you're not gonna do, this is what you're not gonna do, this is what I'm gonna do, and that's it. Like, we didn't have that kind of discussion. But over time, we just came up with patterns that work. And there's some men like that. Some men will talk about every other thing except the important thing that they're supposed to talk about. They won't talk about that. Sometimes I would push until he talked, because I knew who he was. Sometimes he just needs to be cajoled before he talks. Sometimes he needs to be like cajoled, and sometimes I would start the conversation. Sometimes I'll be like, oh, you know, I want to do this and this. I know I would build the conversation to where I know that he would want to join. Knowing the person really does help in a long distance. Like, it really does help, because at the end of the day, You don't want to be with somebody that you totally do not know. And that's the thing about long distance. Because people end up with people that they don't know. You don't know somebody. You can't. People always told me, like, when you and Dan start living together, that's when you truly know each other. Like, you guys have been dating for so long, but you think you know him, but you really don't. Which is true. Which we've been dating for almost 12 years, and every single day he does a new shit. I'm like, where is this coming from? Like, every single day I'm like, I didn't know you could do that. Like, I didn't know you like that. Like, I didn't know you like that. I didn't know you wanted to do that. Like, every single day. Even though we, in the 12 years of being together, we probably have talked about everything that you can ever imagine in life. Now, another thing with long distance is, I know it's hard, especially when you're in two different countries. I know it's hard to see each other because so many people are in so many situations. But I feel like when you're in a long distance relationship, you guys should always talk about seeing each other. How you're gonna see each other, when you're gonna see each other, what is gonna happen when you see each other, because it just helps. It helps with the feeling of being wanted. Because, let me tell you why I said that. Because when you're talking to somebody every single day, and you're in a relationship with the person, and the person has no single plans of seeing you. The person has no single plans of coming to see you, or you coming to see them. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, to me, that makes no sense. Like, are you guys ever gonna see? Because the whole point is you guys are like in a relationship. So physical contact is really important in a relationship. Like hugging somebody, seeing the person's eyes physically and the person's mouth move physically. It's also important in a relationship. So if you're in a long distance relationship and you guys never talk about seeing each other, or what would happen when you see each other, or how it's gonna happen, and like the things you're gonna do when you see each other, like, what is going on here? Like, to me, like I said, this is my personal opinion. Like, I think differently than most people. So in my opinion, I'm like, wow, one, like, what's going on here? How I was brought up. When you're dating somebody, you're dating the person with the intention of spending the rest of your life with the person. Now, I know that people date people for so many reasons, but when I was dating Dan, we were dating each other with the common idea that we were going to spend the rest of our life together. That was how we intended it. From the first day we met each other, we talked about it the entire relationship. Even when things were going bad, we reminded ourselves that we promised ourselves that we were going to spend the rest of our lives together. That's how it's been. Because that's how we were brought up. My mom literally trained us to be in a long distance relationship. And that's facts. My mom used to tell me, when you want to have a friend, you need to have a friend away from where you stay. So when we were living in Bagada, in Lagos, we would have friends somewhere else. My mom would tell you not to have friends around where you stay. And that was a routine for us. It was okay to have friends somewhere else. Every friend that I have now, they didn't grow up where I was. My close friends were always far away. Speak to your friend over the phone. My mom would tell you, if you have a friend that you want to speak to, call the person on my phone. You need to speak to the person, call the person on my phone. And it was okay. She made it okay for us to call people on her phone. But you're not gonna have a friend that lives 2 doors away. That was not acceptable. So in my head, I couldn't have a boyfriend or a significant other close to where I live. Honesty. people struggle with is honesty, even on a daily basis. Like, people struggle to be honest. And just like the Bible says, love your neighbor as yourself. So if you don't love yourself, you can't love your neighbor. It's the same thing with honesty. I look at it the same way in terms of honesty. If you're not true to yourself, how can you be truthful with somebody else? If you cannot tell yourself the truth, how can you be truthful to somebody else? So when it comes to honesty and long distance, it's like it's 5 and 6, because you truly have to be honest with that person. Because at the end of the day, the person isn't there, so the person has only what you tell the person. I'm gonna take your word for it, basically, is what it is. So if you're not able to be truthful with yourself and be honest with yourself, you're not going to be honest with somebody that you're dating that is 5,000 miles away. You get what I mean? To be with somebody, especially in a long distance relationship, you have to be honest with the person. Like, you have to be. Like, there's no half truth. There's no like, I know it's hard because I'm not like the most honest person in the world, and I've been in the position where there's some things I'm like, I'm just gonna tell him this, and this, and I'll tell him the rest later. The truth is most times it's not peaches and cream. So you, at some point, you need to tell the person the truth. Some people can just get out of most situations if other people are honest. Like, you could save people so much time if you can just be honest. We strive in our relationship. We try to talk about stuff. We would try to, make sure that, like, I would say, on the same page. Like, I say that so much now that I say that to everybody. It's like, I always want to make sure that me and Dan are on the same page. I always want to make sure. Like, are we in sync, or like we're not? Cause I don't want to be like riding for you and going hard for you, and you're like going hard for somebody else. Like, that sounded wrong, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Like, I don't want to be like, yes, who boo, and then you're who booing for somebody else. Like, yeah. So honesty is a thing. Like, when, like, even if you meet somebody else, for instance, you meet somebody else and you're liking the person. Not even that you want to leave the person. You want to leave the person that you're in a relationship for the other person. That's not the case. You're just growing an attraction to the person. I think you should tell your significant other, like, oh, I met this person, and this and this is what's going on. I feel like you guys should be able to talk about things like that when you're in a long distance relationship. You have to learn how to start conversations, especially when you're in a long distance relationship, and especially when you're in a relationship with somebody that the other person doesn't really like talking and stuff. And I was living in Liverpool, so I'll just make up shit, like, especially when it's like match day. Like, I used to live very close to Anfield, which was the Liverpool stadium. I used to live like few blocks away. So I would make conversations like, and I know he likes football, so I would make conversations like, oh my god, there's so much traffic from these people who went to go watch football. And he would be like, oh really? I'm like, yeah, like, they're making so much noise, it's ridiculous. And all of a sudden he's talking, he'll be like, oh my god, they lost, and they're feeling bad, blah blah blah. Or he would say, oh, this is their 5th win, and they're just so happy, blah blah blah, and he would start talking like that. He would just start, because you literally have to learn how to to generate conversation. You have to learn how to do that. Even with my sister is exactly the same way. She wants to talk when she wants to talk, and then we can be on the phone just not talking. She's watching YouTube, I'm watching YouTube. Like, if she doesn't want to talk, she doesn't want to talk. And you have to learn how to generate conversation. You also have to learn how to get out of conversations, because there's some conversations that you two don't want to have. So you have to learn how to run away from some conversations. There's some conversations that you don't want to have. Maybe you don't want to have it right now. You don't want to have it in that point in time, and the other person wants to. You have to get out of that conversation until you're ready, because sometimes it's always good. Sometimes it's good to just walk away from a conversation before it like turns into something else. I don't know, like, just that's why another thing. It always boils down to the point of knowing the person. If you personally know the person and have developed like a bond before the person went away, or before you went away, then it's easier to know the kind of things that would make the person not talk or talk in some cases. Another way of communicating is pictures. I know some people don't like taking pictures. I know some people like taking pictures but don't like sending them to people. But whatever your predicament is, if you're in a long distance relationship, daily conversation doesn't always have to be a phone call. Daily conversation doesn't always have to be a text. So, like I said, you have to learn how to create conversations. You would have to learn. And sometimes creating a conversation is by sending your significant other a picture. So you have to, like, if you genuinely want your relationship to work, you'd have to learn how to generate conversation. You can't just be like, oh, what's up? Every single day when you want to try to start a conversation, you're like, hey, what's up? No, at the end of, if you send me hey, what's up every single day, by the second month, the third month, I'm like, don't tell me that again. Like, the next time you say, hey, what's up, I'm just like, read, not reply. I would read it and not reply you, because I'm like, okay, like, generate conversation with people. You have to learn how to stay in conversation, because some people get distracted easily. I know I do. I get carried away easily. Even like filming this video, like, I can be talking about something and something else is running in my head, and all of a sudden I'm like mumbo jumbo. I'm like, what the hell was I even talking about? What was I saying? Like, because I'm thinking of 575 things at the same time. Like, my head is constantly thinking of things. My head is constantly thinking of something. I don't know if there's anyone else out there that's like that, but I'm like that. I am constantly thinking of something. Like, sometimes even when I'm sleeping, I'm thinking. I'm constantly thinking. And sometimes I get lost in conversations. Like, you could be talking to me and I'm like, and I'm not listening to what you're saying. So you would have to develop a way to stay in conversation if you want your relationship to work, because you can't be having conversation with somebody that's never listening to you, that's never present. So not only developing how to start conversation, but how to stay in a conversation is also important. Finding ways to make sure the other person knows that they are present in your life. Because another thing with long distance is only me and you know that we're in a relationship. Every other person around me doesn't know about you. I don't want them to know. It's just me and you that know, which in some cases is okay, because not everyone is supportive of long distance. I know that so many people told me so many shit about long distance. How do you even know if he doesn't even have a girlfriend where he is? How are you so sure that he's not dating somebody else? But at the same time, it's always nice for people to know, like, especially when the person isn't present. It always feels nice when other people know, when you're able to make the person feel that the person is part of your real life. So it's not just me and you talking to each other every day over the phone for 2, 3, 4 minutes a day, but even in my regular schmegular daily life, you're part of it. It helps with feeling, wanted. It helps with being like, oh, I'm not a hidden thing. I'm not something that he's just hiding or she's just hiding, I'm a real thing. Like, this relationship is a real relationship. Because long distance relationship can start to feel like a job after some time. After some time, you're just like, so when are you gonna cut me my check? Because I've been keeping you company over the phone for like 2 years now. So when are you gonna cut me this check? Because it could feel like a job after some time. Sorry that I paused, but I'm just reading this. Grwm is having a baby. Is having a baby. You guys, I do not remember where I stopped, but I put my lashes and I did my bottom eyes off camera because my battery stopped. I don't remember. Like, you just don't want to be talking to the same person the exact way every day. Like find a middle ground. How to communicate, like what the person likes to talk about, what they don't like to talk about. Is you guys have to be on the same page. Like, I cannot stress this enough. If you wanna be in a relationship, if you're in a long distance relationship with somebody who wants to get married and you don't want to get married, then what are you in this for? Like, like, not even long distance, in a relationship generally. If you're in a relationship with somebody who doesn't want to get married and you want to get married, like, what are we doing? Like, is this the transit to the destination? Like, is there someone at the destination and you're just passing through this person? Because that's how I see it. Like, what's the point? You and whoever it is that you're in a relationship have to be on the same page. You guys have to want the same thing. Either it being marriage or being in the same place at the same time. Or working things out. So I would say you should have quality conversations too. Like, it's not just about how many times you talk to somebody, it's also how good of the conversation is even when you talk to the person. Because to be honest, you can talk to somebody 5 times a week and not remember any of the conversation. Long distance relationship is as difficult as it, like, you can imagine. It is very difficult. It is why am I getting emotional? It is one of the hardest things that I've had to do in my life. Like, because there's some moments where you're like, this is not working. Like, we cannot do this. But again, that's why I said you guys have to be on the same page and have a goal, because at the end of the day, it is what you want. So if you guys are on the same page and you guys want the same thing, then that would keep you going, because that at some time in my life, I'm gonna get married to this person and I'm gonna end up being with this person. Now, oh my god, I need to stop for a minute, because these tears cannot fall on my face. Alright, so if you made it to the end, thank you for watching. I forgot to spray my face. So this is the Urban Decay All Nighter, and we are going to spray our face with it. Okay, so if you made it to the end, did I say hand? Did you guys get my age factor? Anyways, if you guys made it to the end, thanks for watching. If you have any questions or any specific questions that you want to ask, you can go ahead and ask it. As long as you're not rude or anything, then that's fine. Thank you for watching. This is the finished look. I should zoom in. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video.